is Linda Schwefel.
Well done. Yes.
who had she's filling in for her husband Scott, who had an emergency and was unable to be here. Linda brings over 20 years of training, keynote speaking, coaching, and professional selling experience to her role as the managing partner of Discover Yourself. She has been a sales manager and top salesperson with Xerox, where she was the marketing representative of the year her very first year. She later worked as an account manager for Versyss, how do you pronounce it?
Versyss, perfect.
Versyss Corporation, which is the equipment manufacturer for IBM, where she was ranked second nationally out of 700 sales representatives 5 years in a row. Linda then started her own speaking and training business and sold it after 5 years to stay home and raise her 3 young children who are no longer young. In fact, she's a grandmother. Yeah. Today, Linda delivers keynotes and teaches programs and workshops and coaches using the Insights Discovery System. She teaches from a real-world perspective of a business owner herself. She has a BA in business from the University of San Diego and multiple sales training certifications, and she lives in Excelsior. So thank you again for stepping in on such short notice. We are looking forward to your presentation.
Pleasure. Thank you. Whenever I go to a Rotary meeting, I always feel like if the world could just be a little more like Rotary, oh my God, it would be a better place, just a little bit more. So I love the work you do. Thank you so much. We're very involved in Excelsior and the Rotary with the microphone. Usually I'm really loud. And have spoken to Edina, Wyzetta, all sorts of them. So it is just an absolute pleasure to be here. I'm gonna try to not be too loud. So you got way more information than you needed about me. Thank you. I don't even know where that came from, but the way, what's that? Oh, Maddie. Next time I'm going to tell her to cut it in half. So just a little snippet about how I got into this role. And really we're here to spend just 30 minutes talking to you about a communication tool that we use. We go into corporations all over the world, and essentially it just helps people get along better. It's really that simple. But as Peggy mentioned, I was working for Fortune 500 companies, so I was exposed to all the personality profiles that are out there. Who's been through one before? Most people have, yeah. It tends to be kind of a shot in the arm of self-awareness, and then what I found, it was sort of business as usual, not a lot changed for me with a lot of them I'd been through. Then about 20 years ago, I got a phone call and somebody said, Linda, I know you've been through Myers-Briggs, which is MBTI, DISC, on and on. Would you sit through an Insights workshop, give us some feedback? So I did. So you're getting the modified version, the 30-minute. Typically, it's about a 4-hour version, but it was really life-changing for me. I was in my mid-30s at the time, and it really helped me sort of understand why when I was successful I was, and when I tripped and fell, why that happened too. It just became clear. And as Peggy mentioned, I decided then at one point I wanted to stay home. I had 3 babies at home, and I wanted to stay home, watch my kids grow. But I was so impacted by the work I had done that one day in that 4-hour session. I made a commitment that when I went back to work after my kids were grown and gone, that this would be the work I'd be doing. So about 13, 14 years ago, I joined my husband. He's been doing it for about 20 years. And got very active in the role and have spent the last 13 years literally traveling around the world. I love what I do. I think this stuff is so important, the people skill piece, the communication piece, because really it's everything. It's everything in our relationships at home, when we volunteer, when we're at work, it's how we get along. So we're going to give you just a little snippet into the Insights world today in the 30 minutes that we have together. Right off the bat, what I'd ask you to do, I want you to think of one word you would use to describe yourself. Just give me one word once you've got it in your head, just share it at your table. One word you would use to describe yourself. Musical, love it.
Yeah, it's hard.
Any good ones out there?
We both decided we were going to do overextended.
Overextended? Yep, I can hear that a lot. Connector, great. Anybody else? Energetic, great words. So what I want you to think about now is you came upon that word, you landed on that word for yourself. If I were to have asked 5 or 10 people who know you well to come up with that word, would it be the same or a similar word? So for some of us, the words we choose, the way we describe ourselves, it's in total alignment with the way other people see us. But for a lot of people walking around out there, the word they chose would be very different than the word others would choose to describe them. So the work we do is really having you uncover who are you through your own eyes, and then how is the world around you seeing you as well. Sometimes there's alignment, sometimes there's not. What's going on up here? No right or wrong. But what do you see? Yeah? Yeah?
Delusions of grandeur.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, somebody said delusional cat in one of my sessions last week. Yeah. So the bottom line is whatever you see up here is your perception, right? This is the kitty's perception of self. You want to be reflective about how you see yourself, but then again, how others see you. So brain science tells us that for most of us, when we get up in the morning, we kind of stare ourselves down in the mirror like this kitty's doing. We make some kind of decision about who we are and how we're going to show up. And then we show up with people and we end up operating on autopilot with people that you meet all day long. Well, that's fine if they're wired the way you are, but what if they're not? So what this work is about really is conscious, intentional interaction, because the way Peggy wants to be treated might be very different than the way Brian wants to be treated. So it's just noticing the difference in the personalities and the styles and leaning into the style of the person you're interacting with. So I'm going to put a bunch of cards up here, and what I'd like you to do is just read through these cards. I want you to identify what card on there you believe best describes you, and then I'd like you to also identify what card on there do you think least describes you. So take a second to just read through those. Everybody have a most and a least? And once you do, if you would just make note, please, of the color card that it's written on. Because now what we're going to do is get into the description of how this 4-color model works. So if you found yourself drawn to the cards that were written in red on the last slide, you might lead with what we call fiery red energy. You might have fiery red energy in you. By the way, all of us are a blend of all 4 of these, but 1 or 2 typically stand out more than the other 2. So fiery red, here's how fiery red personalities show up. You're competitive, you're determined, you're driven. You're about leading the charge, driving results, and making things happen. You move quickly. You walk with conviction, talk with conviction, and oftentimes shake hands with conviction. It's about getting the task done and getting it done quickly. So ask yourself, does that describe you? And again, if it does, you probably have fiery red energy in your makeup. As we move around the model, we get into what we call sunshine yellow energy. If you were drawn to the cards written on that yellow in the previous slide, you might have a lot of sunshine yellow energy in you. You're enthusiastic, you're demonstrative, you're a visionary. In organizations, you're looking 5 years out and 10 years out. You're also maybe seeking market possibilities that nobody else has considered, because you're not about what is, you're about what could be. And you like to enjoy the journey. We also say that sunshine yellow tends to live their life with no filter on their mouth. So every thought in their mind comes out their mouth with no filter. So give some thought if you know someone like that. If you can't come up with somebody, it might be you, so just a heads up there. But so that's my sunshine yellow energy, the joyful ones, right? The ones that enjoy every step of the way. Earth green. If I knew I was walking into this group and I knew every one of you led with earth green energy, I'd calm down, I'd slow down, and I'd probably sit down. And I'd make darn sure that I was making eye contact with each and every one of you. Because in a world of earth green energy, you will never make a connection with them until a relationship is established first. That's what matters most to earth green energy. So by nature, your personality style is kind, patient, caring, and listening. You're the best listeners of all the personality styles that are out there because you listen just for the sake of listening. We also say that unconditional love sits in earth green energy. So does that describe you? Finally, cool blue energy. I always leave cool blue for last, and here's why. You're my information gatherers. You tend to sit back and be a little bit critical of things until you know there's some statistical validity that sits underneath it. So far, this is a whole lot of color fluff, right? I'm just kind of blowing smoke up, in the air. So you need data and information. You're very logical. You love to be left alone. So quarantine for you, woo-hoo, right? People like me were bouncing into your office going, what's going on? How's it going on? Right? Which drives you nuts because you're almost computer-like where your head is down and you're about process and measurement and accuracy. As a matter of fact, cool blue energy to an extreme would rather be right than liked. It's that important. So you are by nature cautious, questioning, formal. Okay, so give some thought to where you see yourself in all these. You're probably 54% of the world sees themselves with 2 of these colors. Some see 3, and a smaller percentage sees only 1. Give some thought to where you see yourself. Give some thought to where you see people at home, people you work with. Where are they? Are they in the same color? Are they your psychological opposite? Here's where psychological opposites sit across our model. So fiery red is get it done now. Earth green energy is get it done harmoniously. Yellow energy is get it done and have some fun. Cool blue energy is get it done and you better be right. You'll have the most amount of friction when you're interacting with your psychological opposite. Stands to reason, right? You literally see the world 180 degrees differently. However, if you can learn to do that lean in that I mentioned just a little bit ago, lean into their style, and the good news is only by about 5% is all you need. Lean into the style. It is a brilliant combination of personalities working together, living together. Because you know what you do? You challenge one another to stretch your mind and think just a little bit differently. So if you can learn to lean in, it's a brilliant combination. So again, give some thought to where you see yourself and where you see people you know. This, by the way, is on a good day or a typical day. What happens when we're under stress? Well, what most people don't realize is when we're under stress, we actually take all of our gifts that I just talked about, right? Who wouldn't want to be determined? Who wouldn't want to be enthusiastic? Who wouldn't want to be kind? And who wouldn't want to be accurate? They're tremendous gifts sitting in all 4 of these colors. However, under stress, we take these gifts and we overuse them. When you overuse your gifts, the world sees you differently. Fiery red was about driving results, leading the charge, making things happen. Now shows up aggressive, overbearing, intolerant, and they move right through people. Right? They don't even realize it, but they move right through people. So my youngest, who's 26, she is in New York, and when she was 6 years old, she came running down the stairs one morning out of breath and said, okay, everybody look out. Mom's got bad red going today. She was 6, and I hadn't said one word. I hadn't opened my mouth, but Scott, my daughter Scotty could tell probably by, I don't know, stomping of my feet coming in, whatever it was. At 6 years old, she knew I was stressed, and by the way, she was spot on. I was able to stop dead in my tracks and say, you know what, you guys? Scotty's right. I'm maxed today. Can you give me a little grace, a little space, and I promise you'll get your mom back, you'll get your wife back at the end of the day. Here's the key. We had the discussion. If she hadn't said anything, I'd have mowed her right through my whole family because I lead with fiery red. So when I'm under stress, I don't realize how quickly and aggressively I'm showing up in the eyes of others. And here's what you have to understand about this bad day behavior. It's not intentional. Would I ever want to aggressively just charge through my family? No. But do I show up that way on occasion under stress? Absolutely. So the brilliance of this model is the ability to have those conversations that allowed me to stop dead in my tracks and go, I maxed you guys, can I have a little grace? And it's a brilliant way to have those sometimes quick, tough conversations. Sunshine yellow energy under stress. Here's what I want you to picture. Hot oil in a skillet. Bing, 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 bing. Squirrels, butterflies, shiny object. You are everywhere, right? There's zero focus in your world. So you show up to the world as frantic and indiscreet. You are bouncing everywhere, chasing everything with no focus. So that's my sunshine yellow energy under stress. Flamboyant, hasty, and indiscreet, just all over the map. Earth green. Remember I said unconditional love sits in earth green? Well, we have another little saying and it goes like this. Hell hath no fury as green energy scorned. Here's why. Of all the personality styles that are out there, earth green can be pushed and pushed and pushed because they're patient and they're kind. However, if you cross the line of morals, values, ethics, trust, or fairness, you've lost them. And it's highly unlikely you will get them back in your camp. As a result, earth green under duress will actually dig their heels in deeper and harder than any of the other personality styles that are out there. It just takes them longer to get there. And finally, cool blue energy, you've heard this expression before, analysis paralysis. Analysis paralysis, right? Here's the problem. As you continue to grab information and data before a decision is being made, you're working on a team. And your whole team is sitting there in frustration because you need a little more analytics, a few more reports, a little more information, and it becomes really frustrating to the rest of the world. So as a result, you show up pretty cold and reserved. Keep in mind, your favorite place to be already is left alone getting your job done. When you're under stress, this is what the world sees. That's what the world sees. So let me go back to good day and just see if you have any questions on good day behavior or bad day behavior, how it shows up. Starting to see yourself in the model a little bit. So what colors do you lead with? Here's what I'm going to ask you to do. Based upon the little bit of information I've given you, you all have a little reference card right here. Grab that. Also grab a set of blocks. Take them out of their hermetically sealed wrappers. And here's what I want you to do. I want you to stack those blocks in color order from top to bottom. So the block on top is what you think you have the most of. The block on the bottom is what you believe you have the least of. So for top and bottom is easiest to figure out. So do that first. And then do number 2 and number 3. So you can look at your little reference chart if you want. You can look up here at Good Day.
Can I do that? You absolutely can.
Absolutely. Love it. Fantastic.
And yes, I agree. I think that's where you are for sure.
Here, I didn't use my knife.
Okay.
We are all the way.
This is a tough bottom for me though.
Yeah, it might almost be even on the bottom.
It is.
Anthony, we want to see yours.
Very rarely am my analysis by paralysis.
What?
So figuring it out. Blue on the bottom, I think.
I've already done this process years ago.
Oh, you did?
Our school board did it, and it was transformative
Oh, I'm
for
so
our work
glad.
together. Yeah.
Which school?
Hopkins Public Schools.
Hopkins, good.
Yeah.
Good. Yeah. You've done a lot of
So you
schools.
can put 2 side by side.
Sure.
Yes, I can.
But she can.
And so could you, Gloria. But
So-
that's what I was.
I love it. Fantastic. So would everybody just hold their block? Oh, I'm sorry. We still got Alicia working. That's all right. That might give us a little indication of a color that might be in there.
Wait,
Yeah, she has it on the bottom. Isn't that interesting?
Now everyone's looking at me.
Now, like, what's she gonna do?
I'm having some paralysis.
And don't worry because we're going to do another little exercise which will make it a little bit more clear. So this is just your first pass at it. So don't totally get wrapped up too much into it because you might end up changing them around a little bit once we do our next activity.
And people do, right?
Yeah,
Like
absolutely.
not just day to day, but over
Yeah.
time you might
Over time change, yeah, for sure. So let's hold your blocks up in the air if you would. Just look around the room. Maybe identify if there's somebody their blocks are the same as yours. That's your twin, if somebody's the same. If somebody's opposite, that's your evil twin. Maybe note that. Yeah, a lot of the world is.
That's interesting, a red and a yellow.
See, look around, I love it.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so that's first pass at this. Does everybody have a phone in here? That seems like a silly question to answer. If you don't worry about it. You've got your blocks. But do you have if you've got a phone, would you take it out, please? Scan the QR code you have here.
Yeah, this is,
Marie?
there you go. There's a speaker.
Oh, yeah. There's just a couple of questions I'm going to have you answer on your phones if you would.
Anyone can get through the Wi-Fi.
Are you having Wi-Fi issues?
It says this connection is not private.
Oh,
Okay. Calm down.
Maybe it's just taking a little bit of time. We might be having internet issues. That's okay, we've got our blocks.
Some of us are getting
Anybody getting it to work?
Yes.
Did you get the same notice, Peggy? Mm-mm. Should be coming up, just a couple question test. That's okay, if you can get it, great. If somebody has it, once you're done, I'm just gonna let you show people what you've got so they have an idea, but sometimes if the internet's sketcy and you're not getting it, we'll just operate using your blocks, which is just fine. Let me see if, okay, I'm gonna let you use my phone. Did you get it? Okay, great. Here, I'm gonna have you get started. I'm gonna do that for you. And then just click through what describes you, and then hit next. And we'll give you yours off of mine. Yep. The ones that apply to you, yeah. Then just do next, that's okay.
And there's a none apply choice that you can select at the bottom. My yellow and green are exactly 38%.
Oh, is that right? But you did the whole profile. You got it. Yeah, great. I love it. We love it. Oh, very cool.
That was good.
Anybody else able to access it? You got it? Can I see what you Yeah.
No.
More yellow than. You're more fun than you thought you were.
What I did was about.
Me too. I have 50% red, 36%, 36% yellow, and 13%
Are you doing
green.
Caitlin?
My
And
yellows and greens are exactly the same percentage.
Yep, so keep going until you're done.
That's what it was all those years ago.
It'll tell you when it's complete. And if that's all you got, then it's okay to hit next.
And he was our data guy.
All right, we'll give you just a couple more seconds.
So we knew that. We should have the so.
Yep, hit submit, and then we'll give you a breakdown.
Right. So in red energy, you don't have 41%.
Wait a minute to get off the step. Take a quiz.
There you go.
30, 25, 25.
There you go. So that's your mix. So see what that is? You're over half yellow, followed by blue, followed by green. So for those, yes.
Just out of curiosity, since I forgot my phone, can you
email that to somebody?
Sure. Yep, I'll give you contact information too, and then I'm also going to give you, when you get Maddie's contact information, the opportunity to take that actual 25-question assessment. You've been through it before, can probably promote it better than I can, but that's on us. It takes 10 or 15 minutes to do, and we'll give you the full 20-page printout as well. But for the 30 minutes that we have, we like to do just the quick one, so you've got something to operate with. So for those of you who are able to do it, great. If you want to maybe change your blocks so that they match your findings when you took the color quiz, that would be fantastic. Again, a little indication of the mix-up of colors. So here's the other thing. I'm going to give you some wristbands.
Do you get bonus points if they match?
Yes, absolutely.
You know thyself.
Right? All right, I'm gonna lay these on here and you're welcome to grab a wristband for afterwards. I know you guys work together a lot, but sometimes we forget who we're working with. So the wristbands serve as a really great reminder to us. If I've got a yellow wristband on, very approachable. Let's go grab lunch or a beer or a cup of coffee or whatever works for you. Cool blue might be better off sending an email to saying, you know, hey, I'd like to meet specifically about these issues. That just works better for Cool Blue, put in writing, that type of thing. So we work with companies all over the place with thousands and thousands of employees, and they're all walking around with wristbands on, which is, it's great. It just serves as a reminder, again, not what you have, what you lead with, but that there's other color energies that are out there. So this picture is almost 20 years old. And I put it on because there's some young faces in here too, but when my kids were growing up, we parented our kids very differently based upon their personalities and styles. So Kenzie, our oldest, yellow energy, we'd bounce into her room after conferences. Came from conferences, they love you, you're doing great, you're a great leader, and you're enjoying the journey, but could you just zip your mouth from time to time? Really all Kenzie needed to hear. Then down the hall to our son Connor, very different. Knock, knock, knock. Hey Connor, we just came back from conferences. When you're ready to talk, come on downstairs. Let's talk about what's going on in school. He leads with Cool Blue, so he needs time to process. Well, actually, he needed time for excuses, but that's a whole nother story. Then down to the hall, our daughter Scotty, fiery red energy. She went to NYU. She's a lot like her mother, just driven, get things done, you know, sometimes forget how quickly we're moving. It was a fast conversation. Here's the deal. Here's what they said. Here's your 98% in this, blah, blah, blah. Give her the information and get out of her way. Just let her do her thing. So slight shift in our parenting with all three of our kids so that we could have the connection that we wanted to have. Lots of people marry their opposite type. I think I heard you say that. I did not marry my opposite type, but I married a whole lot of sunshine yellow energy, which has its share of challenges. So whenever we get in the car, we back out of the driveway, he always goes the wrong way. Drives me crazy because I'm fiery red, so I've already figured out, right, the fastest way to get to where we're going. He wanders aimlessly until something clicks in his mind and he goes, oh, we're going that way, you know. When we go through the neighborhood, he has to wave and talk to everybody. You know what, the windows are down. We just saw him yesterday, but hi, you know. We get to a light, the light turns green. What do I yell? Go, go. The man's been driving for 45 years. He knows to go when the light turns green, but his call to action's never fast enough. So I help him along. I've been helping him along for 35 years. My point is this. It used to make him crazy, and now he lets go of it. He realizes that's just who I am, right? Just like I've learned to accept the fact that whenever we get in the car, we're always going to go the long way because it's important to him to just enjoy the journey and not always focus on how quickly can we get there. So the thing about people is this. For most of us, it's the little stuff that gets under our skin about people in our lives. Point is this, let it go. If you can remind yourself from time to time when you're getting frustrated with somebody's personality or style that they're just wired differently. Not about you, it's about how they're wired. Let it go. I promise you every relationship in your world gets easier because it's not so much about you, it's about the makeup or the style of the other person. So, very quickly in our model, introverts blue and green, extroverts yellow and red. My thinkers, if you use your head to make decisions, your logical sit in blue and red. My feelers sit in green and yellow. You're about people, 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 people. Every decision you make. Oh, there's a speaker there too. I'm a slow learner. I'm like hovering over here so I didn't set this one up. I didn't want to stand in the way. Anyway, so my thinkers are up on top, my feelers are on the bottom. So in terms of the psychology of this work, cool blue, you're my introverted thinkers. You've maybe heard that expression before. Earth green, introverted feelers. Yellow energy, you're my extroverted feelers. And red energy, you're my extroverted thinkers. So this is what we call a team wheel. We volunteered to train the Minneapolis Police Department just last week, or a couple weeks ago. And what we'd just like to see is how we put this information into motion. So this is literally the team wheel. So as we look at this, we go, wow, there's a whole lot of caring energy that sits on that police force. And then you notice, you've got the cool blue. And the beauty of this is this shows some tremendous balance among that police force. So it very quickly allows us to kind of see what's going on in terms of the culture of the group that we're looking at. So this is the discovery profile. If you decide to go online and take it, this is just give you an idea of what you get. Couple of things, just start paying attention to people. Their personalities show up wherever they go, even when they are just getting on an elevator. Take a quick read of that. And if you pretend to hit door open and you hit door closed, you're in a whole nother category. So, insights, so my point is this, elevators, when you're on the road, watch, you can see people's personalities. Look at what's going on here. Red, just right up to this one, just I'll hover back and let everybody go. Yellow energy, miss the exit altogether. We're paying attention. And cool blue, just doing their own thing, right? So some things happen though eventually. Emails, what I want you to think about doing too is as you're writing emails to people, think about who's receiving it. We tend to fall into a trap of writing emails that we like, write them based upon the other person. So lots of detail for cool blue, some energy and punctuation with yellow energy. Earth green, very more personal, and you can see here, right? 225, 227. All right, adapting and connecting, do's and don'ts. I'm gonna go through these really quick because my time is up, so boom, boom, boom. Summary is this, if you're working with red, interacting with red, speed up a little. If you're interacting with earth green, take a breath, just slow down a little. Yellow energy, have a little fun. And when we say be serious for cool blue, it doesn't mean you're not fun or funny. Some of the funniest people I know lead with cool blue. They have kind of a dry sense of humor. They're quick-witted, But what it means is when you're conveying a point to cool blue, they don't need emotion. So strip out the emotion because they would prefer you being a little bit more logical. So summary and actions, all sorts of things that you can do. This is a CEO that put it on the back of his laptop. We can identify teams and so on and so forth. 3M baked it right into their selling program. This is my office, and I wanted to show you one more thing, and then we are done, I promise. So here I sit. This is the whole team of people who support me. Remember how I talked about psychological opposites? So my whole team that supports me are my psychological opposites. So when I leave here today, I will call Maddie, who supported this particular event, and say thank you for everything. I had everything I needed. I appreciate you, whatever. Maddie leads with earth green and needs to feel valued. If I don't make Maddie feel valued as an owner, she'll go somewhere else where she does feel valued. So that's learned behavior for me. So my point is we can all learn, we can all grow. It's got to be intentional interaction. All right, can you be more self-aware? Yep, we all can. Can you see colors in other people? Absolutely. And ask yourself, how can you become a better communicator as a result of the quick 30-minute learning we had today? TED Talk, this is my husband, Scott. He's got about 3 million views on his TED Talk. It's a 15-minute TED Talk, but it gives you kind of an overview of this. Maddie, if you'd like to email Maddie, she will get you everything you need to go online and get a free profile, and we'll send it to you electronically. With that, I will say thank you very much. I appreciate it.